I told that boy extra crispy bacon. He did extra crispy bacon.
Cookin Soul.
A nigga never been as broke as me. I like that. When I was young, I had 2 pair of leads. Besides that, the pinstripes and the gray. The one I wore on Mondays and Wednesdays. While niggas flirt, I saw with tigers on my shirt and alligators. You wanna see the inside? I see you later. Here come the drama. Oh, that's that nigga with the fake. Wow! Why you punch me in my face? Stay in your place. Play your position. Here come my intuition. Go in this nigga pocket. Rob him while his friends watching. And hoes clocking. Here comes respect. His crew's your crew, or they might be next. Look at they man, big man, they never try, so we roll with them, slow with them. I mean loyalty. Niggas bought me milks at lunch, the milks with chocolate, the cookies, butter crunch. Only make moves when your heart's in it. The sky's the limit. Only make moves when your heart's in it. The sky's the limit. Only make moves when your heart's in it. The sky's the limit. Only make moves when your heart's in it, and live the free sky's the limit. Shame, my crew is lame. I had enough heart for most of them, long as I got stuff for most of them. So.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is Dspnews, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom, and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. No tagline yet. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here for a I guess for a special report. I'm gonna be honest, I had to rework this a little bit for various reasons. Okay, so let me give you guys the synopsis. So basically, I put up yesterday's broadcast, and then I was told that Phil had a begging video out, a brand new one, and well, you know, I had to go over there and sniff that out and see what that was about, and it was as one would expect. It was stale, it was old, it was unappetizing, and it was just disappointing overall. So, instead of just presenting that to you, which I wouldn't have just presented that to you anyway, I would have tried to give you something to kind of fall everything into context, at least as best as possible. I have a couple of extra videos here in context. Should be good, to be honest with you. I have, let's see here. I have Phil's thoughts on how to pay his shitty taxes. That was from Markus Daily Productions. That goes back to 2017. Actually, it goes back to July of 2017. Let's see, what am I following that up with? Then I have Black Friday and Business Taxes Owed. That was from November 24th of 2017. As you guys remember, November and December of 2017 was a great year. That was from Mr. Huffstuffs. Let's see here. Then we're going to jump forward. Then we're going to jump to 2018. I'm actually going to bring you 2 small clips. That's going to come from Dspgaming, Saving for Taxes. This was from February 24th of 2018. Yet again, both of those are brought to us by Mr. Huffstuff. The next one I'm going to bring you is Prepping for June's Taxes, which was from February 25th of 2018. Mr. Huffstuff yet again. Number 6 is going to be, sorry, number 5 is going to be Day Off Adventure and How to Deal with Slander and Taxes, also brought by Mr. Huffstuff. That comes from May 15th of 2018, and then we'll get into his basic begging and shilling to promote Saturday's marathon and whatnot. I have no clue who's doing that yet. I do know that up to this particular point, Tevin has a video out. I need to watch it. Actually, I'll probably do it right after this. Who knows who's going to be doing the Saturday thing? It's supposed to be like 12 hours. That's a long one for anybody to sit through. But, you know, I'll definitely try to jump in and out. If not, I'll, we'll just grab the cliff notes and go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to delay this because this is already pretty long as it is. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys are doing well. And this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network Productions. You guys all know the slogan. And I don't smell no bacon cooking yet. So that must mean it's time to watch me work.
So, the final forum question will be from The Right. And he says, hey, Phil, as a YouTuber and a Twitch streamer, how exactly do taxes work for you? Do you have to report 2 small businesses in terms of YouTube and Twitch? Are there any tips that you can give YouTubers or streamers in terms of not being screwed over by taxes, or any mistakes you made in the past that could help out someone doing it for the first time? I just did...
Okay, ladies and... Okay, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yet again, this here is brought to us by Markus Daily Productions. The links to all these will be in the description. And it's Phil/DSP, thoughts on how to pay his shitty taxes. It's from July 28th of 2017. Here we go.
My taxes. So this is a very pertinent question. I can help people out. If you either do YouTube or Twitch or both, here's some advice. Number 1, you don't have to be a business. You can be. You can actually create a business, and you can have your own kind of business. You can say, oh, do I want to be a sole proprietor? Do I want to be an LLC? It's all up to you. You could do that, and you could register it as a business, and then you can have certain tax filings and the like. I've never done that, and here's why, folks. I'm not an employee of Twitch.
Because it's not a business. I should have thrown that Mr. Huff stuff video into this just to prove my point. But yeah, you're not a business, dude. So yeah, of course you don't need any of those things. And you've already messed up, allegedly. You've already messed up state occupation tax. You're screwing up your federal tax because you said you didn't pay any taxes last year, which we'll get into that as we get into it. You know what they're gonna do if you had a business tax that you screwed up too? Jesus Christ, Phil.
I'm not an employee of YouTube. I'm considered an independent contractor, someone who makes royalty money on content and a service that I provide to both businesses, okay? Therefore, they can't fire me. I can't quit, but we have an agreement in place that we can basically dissolve at any time, all right? The way it works is based on ad revenue.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Machinima, Curse, I wasn't fired. They didn't let me go. We agreed that we've reached the apex of our business relationship, and they dissolved it. That's what it was. Just for clarity. You know, some of you guys might not have known. So I'm glad that I was able to bring that to you, and I'm glad that Phil could go ahead and smooth that out for us. He is the one with the business degree, by the way.
Or in the case of Twitch, it's based on cheer revenue, sub revenue, ad revenue, and tip revenue. Okay. Outside of tips, all the money is funneled formally through either the partnership company that I'm with on YouTube, so it used to be Machinima, now it's Curse, or on Twitch, it's actually funneled straight directly through Twitch, the company. What happens is you sign up for these contracts, you give them your information on how you want to be paid, which is primarily PayPal, and they send money to PayPal every month dependent on your earnings, on how you do your performance, okay? For tax purposes, all right, these companies actually are not legally required to give me any kind of tax documentation whatsoever. So from my end, I have to be sure that I'm maintaining records, for example, my PayPal account history, so I can show this payment came in at this time. My bank account history to show at this time I transferred from PayPal to my bank account, yada, yada, yada. That's how it really works. You have to have that paper trail. So the good news is it's all automatically done. PayPal tracks that. Your bank account should automatically track that. As long as you have that stuff set in stone that you can see it when you have your tax time come around, or in case you ever get audited, as long as you can bring up that history, you're good to go. Okay.
Now, wait a second. Didn't he say something early on, about maybe a few weeks back at this point, that he was waiting for his documentation to come from YouTube and Twitch? That he was still waiting on those pieces of information to come in so he could have all of his stuff together, so he could send it off to his CPA, his tax prepper, the guy who prepares his taxes. I don't know, the name keeps changing. His tax lawyer, whatever. Didn't he say that he needed those pieces of documentation and whatnot? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is from, like I said, July 28th of 2017. He says he doesn't need any of those things. As long as he has all of his receipts and everything else together, he was on the straight and narrow. But he's told us in the present day, in 2019, that he needs to make sure that he has all of those documents that came from Twitch and YouTube. If not, he can't file his taxes properly. Oh, okay. I just want to throw that out there. I really just want to throw that out there. Secondly, as it pertains to the whole situation with you know, with tips and everything like that, and how PayPal tracks all those situations, all those things and whatnot, Twitch and all that, so on and so forth. Didn't Phil say something about he never can see any of your, he can't see any of your information if you donate to him anonymously? But the thing is I remember James the Lesser said it, maybe LSB said it, that they can see your information. Like, because obviously you had to make an account when you shoot it off to them, right? Now, unless you can actually go on Twitch and they have like an anonymous button. In general, through Streamlabs, like I said, according to these guys, they can actually see your information to an extent, I should say. So, and we know Phil has been known to contact people behind the scenes and vice versa, which I would only assume these are people who have donated to him in the past. So there has to be something that he sees. You know what I'm saying? It's not all just faceless accounts. Just something to throw out there. Maybe it'll come back up later. Dspnews.
That's in the case of everything I mentioned that's not tips or donations, okay? That's considered earned revenue. That's full taxable revenue that you have to report, all right? And you have to be sure that you pay taxes on it. Because the bottom line is, all that revenue you're bringing... I said the bottom line again. I just noticed. All that revenue you're bringing in has no taxes taken out of it. At least if you live in the United States. Now, I don't know how other countries work. In the United States, no taxes are taken out of any revenue that I get either from my partnership company on YouTube or from Twitch. It's just full-on money. What I'm required to do, okay, is with my account, because I have an accountant that does my taxes every year, estimate the amount of income that I'm going to make in a quarter. So that's 3 months' time. At the end of every quarter, I'm required to send an estimated tax payment to the federal government. Now, also, when I lived in Connecticut, I had to send an estimated tax payment to the state government. But now that I live in Washington State, there are no state taxes here. So that's one that's gone away immediately, which was great. Okay.
I think some of you guys now see why I chose this. I chose this video. Oh boy, it's gonna get good. It's gonna get better. I promise you. I aim to please. You'll see.
This part is difficult because the bottom line, I said the bottom line, because it's hard to estimate what you're going to do. Right now, I have no idea what I'm going to make this month. I have no idea what I'm going to make next month. YouTube ad revenue could plummet. YouTube ad revenue could go back up. There's no way to tell. So how do you estimate what you're supposed to pay for a quarter of earnings? You can't really. It's a guesstimate. Really, it's not really an estimate. It's a guess. And sometimes, if things are down, I'll pay less. And sometimes if things pick up, like the end of the year, I'll pay more. But mostly what I try to do is get an average estimate of what I'm going to make as a year as a whole. I divide it by 4, and those are the 4 payments that I make during the course of the year, okay? It's tough.
Wait, but didn't you say that you have to... that the year is broken up into 3 quarters? So, and you have to basically send an estimate payment for each one of those quarters? I'm just... Well, I'm sure someone will catch it.
Having a professional to actually look at all your finances, it's very hard to figure out what you owe on your taxes when you're self-employed like I am. In addition, there's tons of tax write-offs for the self-employed. For example, anything that I buy that's related to the business, a video game...
And that's the reason why he has a hard time assuming... or assessing, I should say, assessing what he owes, because he's trying to write off every little damn thing. I mean, at least he isn't like some YouTuber who tried to write his whole house off and now he owes crazy money altogether. But Phil's literally trying to write off everything on his taxes. Most of you guys have been around, you know this. But this guy who runs a YouTube channel, literally nickels and dimes everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. Here, let me show you.
Controller, the cost of ink for the printer that printed out my questions for Ask the King or has anything business related, the cost of electricity in the house, the cost of the internet for the house. All these things are tax deductible, meaning I have to pay for them, but I cannot be taxed on them, meaning I will not have to pay taxes for the amount of money of stuff that I spend on the business. So if I reinvest money into the business, it helps me because it allows me to pay less taxes on a yearly basis. There's tons of things you can do that are considered tax deductible. This room is my office. I only come in this room if I'm going to do work for YouTube or Twitch. That's it. I don't come in this room for any other purpose. So because of that, this is considered my office, and anything within it is considered tax deductible, and I get a write-off of a certain amount of money every year for having a room in my house, certain square footage, that is for business only. When I lived in Connecticut, I was not able to get that tax write-off because my condo in Connecticut had a living room, and yes, the living room was used for business, but I also relaxed in there. I used it to watch television and all of that, and therefore that room was not legally able to be claimed on my taxes as a tax write-off, which sucked. I never got the tax break that I deserved for doing YouTube when I lived in Connecticut.
Now, before this sleazy asshole takes a sip, let's talk about that for just a minute. So, you can write off certain things on your taxes, right? The cost of internet, electricity, anything that's done within the parameters of that office space is considered work. When he's in the office, he doesn't go in there to relax. He doesn't go in there to, you know, to chill out or anything. He puts in work. Just to let you guys know when the flapping happened. That was a business expense. Just to let you know. You know what I'm saying? He had to, you know, it is what it was. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is he said that he can essentially write off the internet. Okay, fair enough, despite the fact that internet's being used in other places around the house, but he's just talking about his business line. So let's not go ahead and split hairs so much. Fair enough. But about electricity, how does he section off exactly how much electricity is used for the business compared to everything else that helps run the household? How is that determined? And, excuse me, if so, if he is writing off all of that, if he's writing off his complete and total power bill every year, why hasn't that come under scrutiny at all? Since not all of that is business related. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, as it pertains to Panda when she was there and before she actually had a job, she was doing YouTube. So theoretically, that office was considered a write-off as well, right? And if she ended up actually signing up for a business loan slash or a personal loan at any given time, right? How was it that she was able to obtain that loan if she wasn't claiming something? Let's say it was a business loan. If she didn't actually show that she was bringing in some type of income through ways of a business. Now, most of you are going to be like, oh, well, come on, GTG, she had the soap business. That's true. That's very, very true. But that certainly wouldn't have been enough, I wouldn't think, to allow her to apply for a loan. So I'm wondering if they wrapped up the YouTube situation in that also, or Phil basically conjoined all of that together, and then wrote off everything in that office too. You see what I'm saying? Like, saying that she just makes soap is one thing, but if you say, oh, well, she makes soap plus she does stuff on YouTube like I do, hence the reason how he got the loan in the first place on his end, it kind of strengthens their case. Just throwing it out there. Next thing is, does Cat at all, you know what I'm saying? Are they using Cat, for example, to claim that room as an office, even though she does actually have a job? So obviously she's getting taxes taken out and so on and so forth because she has regular income and so on and so forth. Is Phil also telling her to write that off, or is Phil filing it as her room, air quotes? Is that being written off as a tax break too? And on top of all of that, if Phil had any tax problems, because, you know, this is still under scrutiny whether it's really a tax issue or not. When you think about this whole business occupation tax, I've always held to the theory that the reason why he ended up getting caught is not just the fact that maybe someone did blow the whistle on him. Let's go ahead and step away from that for just a second. What if they ended up getting audited and they were looking at all these business write-offs, but yet he's not paying anything to the state, and they're like, huh, so this guy is writing off all these things as business expenses throughout the year, every year since he's been here, but he ain't paid us no money. He ain't paid up no chicken. There ain't no dough over here. There ain't no bread. There ain't none of this. There's no shekels. Well, what the fuck? Where's our money? And that's what ended up bringing him, you know, to task. Just something to throw out there. I've said this before for anybody's been around for a while, but I just wanted to put that back out there. Let's continue. DSP News.
So a huge asset to be able to claim that on my taxes, okay? Are there any tricks or any advice that I can give? Sure. Let me put it this way. If you're getting revenue that has nothing to do with YouTube or Twitch paying you or a partnership company paying you. For example, donations and tips, all right? I just recently adopted accepting tips on while streaming on Twitch. I have this thing set up that people can go.
Oh yeah. This is actually a pretty interesting part here. So definitely want you guys to hear this.
Go to my Twitch page, you click on a link, you could put it in, you could be anonymous, or you could have your name and get a shout out for it, and you can send me a tip. And that goes directly to a PayPal account. The PayPal account associated there is a separate PayPal account for visibility on that, because I want that income to be completely separate from all of my other income. Why? Because if you mix that shit up, okay, and then, let's say, for example, some asshole sends you a $100 tip to Phil. Here you go. But then they try something called a chargeback. If you're not aware what that is, when someone sends you a tip via PayPal, what they can do is then say, oh, my credit card was stolen. That wasn't me. Or I didn't authorize that charge. Oh, my son did that without my permission. I don't authorize that. You should give me that money back. PayPal will put that transaction in dispute. Now imagine if you had not a separate PayPal, but it was your PayPal account where you have, your personal money coming in from your partnership company, from Twitch, from everyone, and all of a sudden you get a million chargebacks from assholes who were trying to troll you. Now all your funds are frozen. That's terrible. That's horrible. That'd be a very bad situation for people. So that's why I have a new PayPal account. It's separate just for the tips. And legally, it lets me have visibility on the amount of tips I'm bringing in every month. And if a freeze happens, I have full visibility on it, and I'm able to take care of it and not worry about, oh no, now I'm locked and I have no money and I can't even pay my bills because all my fucking money got locked up in this account, okay?
Okay, so yet again, I know I've heard him say this before, so I'm really glad that it was in this clip. So our boy Phil has two different PayPal accounts, one for tips and donations, basically, and then one his regular account, his personal account, I should say. So I guess Twitch and YouTube pay him directly there, and then all of his tips and everything go there. So here's the problem, or at least this is what I perceive as a problem. It's almost inconceivable to think that every chargeback that Phil gets, he wins. It just doesn't seem reasonable, since the account is automatically put on freeze, is immediately frozen, I should say, is immediately frozen, so it can be scrutinized. Now, if he has multiple chargebacks in the span of a day, yes, that would give him credence saying that, oh, well, this is all just trolling and whatnot, so on and so forth, you should give me the money. But at the same time, when does PayPal come to the conclusion that, well, you need to figure out what the hell you're doing, because this shit right here is kind of a waste of manpower on our part. Now, keep in mind, it's not just Phil. There's plenty of other streamers and probably YouTubers who get chargebacks. It is what it is. It's part of the game. Wings admits it. You know what I'm saying? He gets chargebacks all the fucking time, and the majority of the times they win. It is what it is. But Phil continuing to push this narrative that, oh, I always win, they always side with me, so on and so forth. It's just, it's irrational. It's just not possible that you win every single situation. Now, him being smart enough to have two PayPal accounts so, his main money doesn't get frozen up was smart. But here's my real question. Phil has a bank account too. Why isn't any of your income going there? Now, the theory is that if Phil is in some real financial problems, he doesn't want his direct income to go into his bank account, because the bank that he's getting his loans from and the bank that's holding on to his mortgage probably could rip what they want right from him, you know what I'm saying, on the rip. And I say that because Phil has told us that he's overdrafted his account multiple times over multiple situations. It's very possible that that's what the situation could be. So yet again, it only makes sense to go ahead and have it all go to the PayPal account and just keep it there. Another thing is, if the theory that's continuing to go around is true about marrying Kat, so he can essentially use her to hide his assets, has any type of basis to it at all, which it'll be interesting to see that. Maybe yet again, this is him just taking a preemptive strike on trying to protect his assets before the government comes and gets a piece. And hiding it with Kat is the worst thing you can do for obvious reasons. But yet again, Phil's really scared about losing anything, and that's if there's even a tax problem. So keep that in mind also. Let's continue. DSP News.
The good news is PayPal doesn't put up with that shit anymore. As I learned very quickly, because I'm not even kidding you, the first week that I started accepting tips on Twitch, I had 3 different attempts at a chargeback. Okay, guess what I did? I wrote to PayPal and I explained, no, I'm a Twitch streamer. These came through Twitch. You could actually see for visibility purposes. Here's my business. These were tips sent during a stream. This person got an appropriate shout out. Therefore, the business transaction was completed. This guy is completely full of shit. And honestly, since they're now committing fraud, you should shut down their account. And guess what? PayPal responded and said, we have found in your favor, you keep the money, and we are going to penalize this person who tried to do this. I was so pleased. I was like, holy shit. PayPal actually sticks up for people who do this. So I was like incredibly happy. I'm like, wow, so that means when people are sending me these tips, if they try to troll, I'm still going to get the money, which is awesome. So awesome. That's what I recommend you do.
And pushing that narrative is important because he can always hang his hat on that and say, oh, it's a deterrent. You know what I'm saying? There's no point in you doing that because I'm always going to win, which is, like I said, one of the pervasive theories going on right now on why he keeps saying, I've always won, despite the fact that he still holds a massive grudge against King Tut. He still holds a massive grudge against King Tut. And yet again, I think Tut ended up getting his money back. I think Phil may have still been able to keep his half, but Tut did end up actually getting his money back, and Phil's still salty about it. Because, like I said, it's another blemish, if you will, on the pig roach over it. But who could say?
We're going to accept tips via streaming. Big warning. Your tips are fully taxable just like the rest of your income. Some people seem to be under this impression that if people send you money during a stream, that's yours and there's no taxes or nothing on it. Wrong. All that money is fully taxable because it's a tip, not a donation. Legally, the wording that it works for United States law is that a donation is something given to someone with no expectation of anything in return, and it's non-for-profit. So if you give money to a foundation who's doing cancer research, and it's a non-for-profit foundation, all they're doing is try to research to fix cancer, then that's a donation. But if you give money to a streamer, that's a tip, and therefore that streamer has to pay taxes on that money as if it were normal income they earned through any other source. So that's very important. I get the feeling there's some people out there who aren't doing their taxes right, and give it a couple of years, if the IRS catches up with them and realizes there's thousands and thousands of dollars that they didn't pay taxes on, there's going to be a nice big balloon payment coming up on their ass in the next couple of years.
Take a sip, you sleazy asshole. That's the reason why, another reason why I chose this. Because it's funny how in July, he's sitting here talking about, oh, you know, for all these other Twitch streamers and these other YouTubers or whatnot, if these guys ain't doing their taxes right, shit, in a couple years, they're going to be screwed. Then, all of a sudden, in less than 3 months, Phil says that I have this incredible issue with back taxes and shit, and I need you guys' help. If not, I'm going to lose my fucking house. It makes you kind of wonder where was the origin of this idea of back taxes came from. And that's, like I said, under the notion that it's a lie. Under the notion that this is pig roach Jedi mind tricks at its finest. Because if that is the case, then that explains why we're at where we're at now. Phil may have saw something on Twitter, or someone may have linked him something, he laughed about it, and he was like, I wonder if I can do that and get away with it. Just saying. Just saying.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you hear that some big Twitch streamers, all of a sudden the bubble bursts on them, and next thing you know, the IRS is coming in to take all their income. But I don't know. All I know is I'm doing it the right way, and that's a big help for you, I hope, with the information I just gave you, okay? Mistakes I made? I never really made any mistakes. The only mistake I really made was fucking doing this in Connecticut, because Connecticut is one of the worst fucking states that you can be self-employed in. Here's the deal with Connecticut. I'm not even lying. Number one, there's a self-employment tax that the state charges you that takes more money away from you just because you're self-employed. Gee, I really want to go start a business in Connecticut, don't I? It's fucking stupid. It makes no sense at all why they would do that, but they do it. They take more money from you. Number two, the real estate taxes in Connecticut are higher. Number three, the gas taxes in Connecticut are higher. Number four, there's state tax in Connecticut that you're required to pay rather than if, like for now, I live in Washington State. There's no state tax. However, the sales tax here is higher by about 3%. So if I willingly choose to go out and spend money, okay, then I pay more taxes, and that's my choice. But if I just sit here and I work and I don't spend money, I don't pay those taxes. In Connecticut, literally just by working, you owe the state.
Now, listen to what he take in what he just said. You know what I'm saying? The state tax, the state sale tax is higher, but if I just sit here, just do my work and don't buy anything, I don't have to worry about paying that tax. So Phil, is that the reason why we never got a new laptop? Is that the reason why we had to pander to the pig roach cult, to the piggies, for the money for the TV and the PS4 Pro? Well, oh, and the Nintendo Switch too, by the way. Even though I think he admitted that he ended up buying the TV himself. I haven't done that video yet. I know, I'm way behind. Is that the reason why we went that route? Is that the reason why we pushed the narrative that if you guys really want to see me play a game, you guys should just donate the game to me? Because, you know, it'd be, you know, if not, I'm not going to play it. And he's been doing that more and more often with some AAA games. It makes you wonder, what exactly is the scheme? Just throwing that out there. Dspnews.
It makes no fucking sense, okay? And, of course, I hate the weather in Connecticut, but tax-wise, it was terrible. I was literally, every year, I'm not exaggerating, some years paying upwards of more than $5,000 or more to the state of Connecticut for nothing. Because I'll tell you, you might think, oh, well, all that tax money they're taking from you, the state must be beautiful. There must be amazing roads and highways. The infrastructure must be great. Terrible. It's better here in Washington. The roads here are smooth and paved, and everything here is nice. Out in Connecticut, the roads are falling the fuck apart. Everything's terrible. The government's there is awful. So, if you're going to be...
Now, granted, I've never been to Connecticut, so it is what it is on that. But if you look at some of his vlogs when they were driving around Connecticut, like him and Panda, for example, I don't know. I didn't see a whole bunch of potholes in those videos. Things looked pretty smooth to me. And Panda was pretty good at handling a camera, as well as other things. So, I don't know. I didn't see too many issues, Phil. You know, it's not like it's all, you know, back dirt roads out there or anything. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Employed and do YouTube and Twitch and everything for a living. Do your research and try to start it up. Live in a state where you're not going to get completely destroyed by taxes because of bad government. Well, I got a few quick things to touch upon before we start with gameplay here today. First of all, if you were not here yesterday for my thing...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for segment number 2. Mr. Huff Stuff. Dspgaming, Black Friday and business taxes owed. This is from November 24th of 2017. Here we go.
Thanksgiving Day podcast. You missed out on the biggest podcast I've ever done. That's not an exaggeration. 3 hours. I've never done a podcast that was a full 3+ hours before. And it had 3 really distinct and interesting segments. The first segment was current events discussing net neutrality. We had an in-depth discussion on net neutrality. Then it moved on to loot boxes in modern AAA games and the discussion of how certain governments are trying to outlaw them. And then we had a discussion about the crazy amount of sexual harassment and predatory practices that have been going on in Hollywood. So it was a really interesting hour-long segment on that. Then there was a segment where I reviewed every single game that I played since the summer, because I knew I hadn't had a chance to actually do game reviews recently. So I did 1 hour video that covered all of them. All right. And then in the third and final segment, I finally revealed to everyone what's been going on with me behind the scenes, what's been screwing with me in my head, what's been making me stay up at night, what's threatening the fact that I might lose my house. Okay. I might have to sell it. And that was tough, let me tell you guys, because I wanted to tell you guys that for 2 months. But I didn't have much, if any, information that was concrete at the time. Now I finally had a little bit more information, so I felt that it was the time to share it. And, you know, it was still tough, because now, you know, even though I shared it with you, it doesn't mean that the problem's solved. It's not. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that obviously things are going to go well on stream and on YouTube. Maybe people will pledge to Patreon. I don't know. You know, that things will go well, and hopefully I can get to a situation where I can get through this issue. All right. You know, we got to see what happens. We got to see what happens and go from there. All right. But let's see. Let's see what happens. But anyway, thank you for everyone who was here live for the stream. First of all, ridiculously high attendance. If you guys aren't aware, like there was, at one point there was almost 2,000 people on stream watching it. It was crazy. You know, one of the most successful streams I've ever done. Once the show was ending, people did outpouring of support on stream, which was really appreciated. You know, what I'm hoping is that I can get people, like I said, once maybe I start playing new games again, we'll get people remotivated to come in and start contributing to streams, because I don't want it to slow down. If I can keep it on a good pace, right, till the end of the year with streaming and everything, then maybe I could get through this unscathed. But I don't know. The problem is we're done with all the major stuff, right, until mid-December. Like I said, when we've got PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and these Resident Evil DLCs, then I'm sure we'll see a little bit more attention. But until then, it's like, you know, what am I doing? I'm kind of doing older stuff. And even if I start other stuff, like, for example, let's say that I play Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds. That's not...
All right, let me just cut in for a minute. So most of you guys might remember that stream. He basically had his little pity party and whatnot. And keep in mind, the one in 2017 was much better than the one in 2018. In 2017, right, we're trying to get Kat home. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get her out of Michigan and get her to Seattle. So he really, he had proper build-up for a con man. He had proper build-up. He had decent, if not average, he had at least average. It was decent. He had decent execution as it pertains to sympathy and so on and so forth, and he made it happen. The amount of money that people were throwing at him at the end of that Thanksgiving stream, and then leading into the Christmas streams, kind of, sort of, but at the end of that Thanksgiving stream was crazy. It was ridiculous money. Hence the reason why he made sure that I guess it was what, Axe the King that he did for Christmas Day or whatnot, or whatever it was. That's the reason why it worked out. Like, you know what I'm saying? He had already been basically hugging people's nuts and pulling on their sympathy strings for like the past 2 or 3 months up to that point. All he had to do was make sure Christmas went by well, and it did for the most part. The problem is when we get into the beginning of the year, the greed set in. And he probably had, and like, you know, as most people say, he had what, $10,000, a little more, a little less. Some people, I think I said 12, and he might have actually, given everything that was said, by the end of the year, by the end of 2017. So he walked into 2018 on the up. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely in a really great position. So that money was used to get Kat to move Kat over finally, and get her, basically buy her everything, because apparently she came over here with damn near nothing. Get her reestablished and then moved on from there. The whole tax situation, the way I see it, it's very possible, yet again, that there was an initial issue. But once he had that cleared up, everything else was mainly for Kat. And I'll touch on that as we move further and further along into the broadcast. But 2017 was done extremely well, as in conning these people out of their money. 2018 was horrible. I think, and it's crazy because, you know, if you're thinking that you're conning people, right, you got to keep the con up for it to work. But he literally ended up getting lazy on his own con job. He literally got lazy on his own con job. He walked into October, he fucked up blaming Tevin. But November and December were just lazy. We're just super fucking lazy. He just came out of nowhere and was basically like, hey guys, you need to give me money. You guys know I have this ongoing issue. Okay, let me look at the chat and wait for it all to pour in. But there was nothing there. There was nothing there to give them. You know what I'm saying? The only semblance of a defense that you had, if you want to call it that, was blaming Tevin for running Kat off for Halloween. And everybody saw the stream. We know that wasn't the case. And then, if you remember the week or two, or actually even the month or so out leading up to the Halloween stream, you said it yourself that Kat wasn't going to be there the whole time. That she had something else that she was going to do, or so on and so forth. She was going to give us a couple hours, chill out, and then she was going to go off to do her own thing. But then we flip it into, oh, it's Tevin's fault, which is one of the memes of the year. Anyway, let's continue.
Something that's going to bring in massive attendance. I know that. I'm not stupid, right? It'll be okay. I know that episodic games, right? Episodic games, they're all old now. They're not going to bring in a lot of new attendance. I know that. But there's not much I could do to bring in new attendance right now. You know, we're in a kind of a lull before the next wave of stuff hits. So it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. I hope that I can get through. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, the entire podcast is split up into 3 parts, hour-long parts, and it's available on my King of Hate Vlogs channel right now on demand. Go watch it. Find out what's going on, because it is some pretty important stuff. I mean, the net neutrality stuff could change the face of the internet in the United States. Obviously, if you've been looking for game review information from me, you can get it finally. And obviously, being in the know on what's going on with me and my channel, and, you know, whether or not I'm going to be able to stay in this house, which is a huge concern. You know, all these things are things that, you know, things that you need to be in the know about, especially if you're a longtime viewer or fan and you want to, you know what's happening. I know, it sucks. It sucks having this looming thing. Now you guys have it too, because that's the thing. I've had this looming thing over my head for over 2 months and haven't been able to tell you about it. Now I finally did. Now it's looming for everybody, right? Kind of sucks. But it is what it is. It's life. I hope we can get through this. But, you know, outside of me finding a wealthy investor who's decided that my you know, what I do here on the internet is worthwhile and wants to bail me out of these problems, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. But I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to fight as hard as I possibly can, folks, to make sure that things stay as they are. I'm going to do every possible thing that I can do. You know, whether it means grabbing my models and statues and stuff that have been sitting in my nook for years and going to a pawn shop and selling them for, you know, $50 to $100 a pop, which is nowhere near what they're really worth, just to raise some funds to help with this issue. Whether it means, I don't know, doing different kinds of things, doing a drive stream maybe one day where I, even though it's not good for me, I stream for 12 straight hours as a drive to try to raise funds to pay for this, to make up for it. I don't know. I don't know. All right. And for those who are spamming the stream chat saying to rent out your spare room, you obviously have not been paying attention whatsoever to anything that I've said to you guys in the past few months. The room is still full of shit. It's all the stuff that Leanna left behind when she moved out is still in the room. I have not been able to get rid of any of it because I can't, because we have limitations in the state of Washington on what you can throw out. You can only throw out 1 can of trash every 2 weeks. If you do any more than that, I'm not kidding you, they charge $50 each time there's an extra pickup. So I can't clean the room. I can't throw it out, and I can't clean it out. I've been doing it gradually, very gradually and slowly. It's going to take still months to get it all cleaned out and ready. And another thing you people don't realize, you can't just get a renter right away. You got to vet people.
Now, as it pertains to the office or whatever the case may be, as it pertains to Panda's room, I should say, or former room, it's funny how it's going to take months, it'll never happen, so on and so forth. As soon as Cat gets there, it's all cleared out in like a week or two. And but do you guys remember though, one of the excuses besides this? Oh well, you know, man, I can't really clear out, you know, Panda's office, for example, because, you know, people were saying he should rent that room out. Oh, I can't clear out her office, man, because I can't take it all to the dump because they're going to charge me ridiculous money. It's a green state out here in Seattle. There's no way I can get all that done. It's not possible. Not possible at all. Then all of a sudden, yeah, guys, you know, I had a great day off yesterday, but it wasn't really a day off because, you know, me and Kat had to go ahead and toss a bunch of stuff, take it out to the dump, you know. He made it sound like it was easy. It was casual. He couldn't do it by himself, though, apparently. Here, before, right now, he couldn't do it by himself. That just wasn't going to happen. It was going to take him months and months to go in there and actually do it. He's so busy, so on and so forth. As soon as Kat got there, though, he immediately put that chick to work. Immediately. Which is a good thing that Kat goes to the gym every other day. Because if not, that'd have been rough. Just throwing it out there. DSP News.
Background checks, safety deposits. You've actually, and the other thing is sound pollution. Guys, you realize that my entire house has my voice in it when I stream, right? Who the hell's going to pay for an apartment where from noon until 10 p.m. you hear my voice booming through the fucking house? No one. I mean, I appreciate that you guys are trying to brainstorm these ideas, right? But you have to understand that I've thought of pretty much everything. All right? I've thought of all these things. You got to understand that, you know. It's not practical, the things that you guys are suggesting in a lot of cases. You guys suggest things that you don't have the information. I understand. Listen, you're trying to be constructive and helpful. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything here, but understand that these are things that I've thought of already. It's very frustrating, you know. No, I cannot take on a renter. By the way, there's also, because of the community I live in, I wouldn't be able to rent the room regardless, because I would need to go and get permission from the board of this place, and I need to basically get all kinds of, you know, other things. I can't do it. It's not that easy. It's certainly not that easy whatsoever, folks. There's no quick and easy solution to my problems. There's not. There's got to be, you know, it's going to be a lot of hard work on my part, okay? And, you know, it's got to be probably sacrifices that are going to have to be made. I really don't want to lose the house. I don't. I want to be here. I love being here. And the other thing is, folks, I'll be honest here, you know, I told you, I can't tell you everything about everything. There's other stuff going on in the works, and, you know, being able to stay here would be ideal. Let's put it that way. So I'll let you know what's going on as we get, you know, approach everything going on. And we'll go from there, okay? YOLO Dopper did a 10-bit cheer. He says, if you knew that Washington had a business tax, would you have moved there then? Or to another state like Florida where there is no business tax? Here's the thing. The reason I really wanted to get out of Connecticut, yes, it was the weather and all of that, but also the state income tax in Connecticut is one of the highest in the country, okay? In comparison to what I paid as state income tax when I lived in Connecticut, the business tax out here in Washington is very, very low, okay? It's incredibly low compared to what I was paying for my state income tax in Connecticut. The problem isn't the fact that there's a state business tax here. The problem is I didn't know about it, you know, because my tax attorney was not doing his job that I was paying him for, and I didn't pay it. So,
but you said that you did your research before you went out there. I distinctly have heard you say that you actually did your due diligence and actually looked yourself. But the thing is within that same sentence, when you said you did your due diligence and you looked it up, you also said that you went to your tax attorney and asked, hey, do I actually have to pay anything? So in truth, you didn't sit there and do a couple of keystrokes to actually see if there was an actual, you know, business occupation tax in Seattle. You just asked your tax attorney, allegedly. Okay.
The problem is not the fact that this tax existed. If I had known it existed, I would have easily been able to afford it and pay it gradually over time. The problem is I didn't know. Now it's a lump sum plus. There's going to be fees. There's going to be interest. There's going to be all this stuff because I didn't pay it. And that's the problem. The problem is not that it exists and that it's high. The problem is that I didn't know about it, all right? Now, would I have looked at other states that maybe
didn't know about it, but allegedly Panda was paying it? Okay.
Any business tax at all? Possibly. Absolutely.
Also, by the way, those 2 months or those 3 months between him between him telling us that there was something really bothering him and then him actually telling us what the situation was, he has admitted that behind the scenes he was actually talking to whoever was assigned to him by the state bureau to basically work this situation out with him, that, oh, I don't qualify for this because I don't fit your criteria. He basically spent 2 months fighting with them to tell them that, hey, this doesn't, I'm not what you think I am. And so you guys kind of barked up the wrong tree, no pun intended on my end. And that's why, and then immediately goes to YouTube and doesn't say anything about this being a business anymore, which the evidence is right there. But that's obviously him trying to cover his piggy tracks. And I'm sorry, but last time I checked, bacon grease does stain carpets. So there was no way you were going to walk away from that situation unclean. But he tried to, which, you know, only kind of furthers the idea of the con.
But I guarantee you, no matter where you go, every state has a positive and a negative, right? You know, Florida, can you imagine if I lived in Florida this year with they had two major hurricanes, right? I might have lost my house this year if I lived in Florida. You know, so I see what I mean? Like, there's positives and negatives to everywhere. I guarantee you, if there's no business kind of tax at all in Florida, there's probably another thing. Maybe there is there a state tax? I don't know. Is there state income tax? I don't know, because I don't know if I confirmed that with Florida or not. I don't think there is in Florida. I'm pretty sure it's Florida, Texas, and Washington were the 3 major states that I was looking at when I was looking to move, because they don't have state income tax. But would I maybe not move to Washington? Maybe. I don't want to say yes or no. Maybe. I don't know. I can't tell you that because it wasn't a consideration for me because I trusted my tax attorney. That's the sad fact, is I trusted him. And that was.
But you weren't going to move to Florida because there was hurricanes. There's natural weather hazards just about anywhere you go. But that was your reason why you weren't going to move to Florida. That's the reason. That was the defining situation there. Not the fact that maybe if you guys move there, maybe it would force you to go outside and actually get a tan. Maybe, just maybe, you know, Panda ends up going out there and actually finding Mr. Right super early, and you get left in the dust, you know, maybe after year 1 instead of like year 3 or almost year 4. Okay, I got you, Phil. I mean, that's not a good reason at all. I understand most people don't move to certain states because of weather or, you know, the job market there or just the environment in general. But to sit there and say, oh, it's a good thing I didn't move there because they had 2 hurricanes, I could have lost my house. You could lose your house just about anywhere over anything. Doesn't happen. Okay, no problem. I'll let him have it. Wink, wink.
I guess putting your trust in someone who you're paying thousands of dollars to do the right thing is the wrong thing to do in the modern era. That no matter what, you got to do everything yourself, which is ridiculous because I don't have the knowledge to properly even know anything about this stuff. You know, I don't. I never went to school for it. I'm not well versed in it. I wouldn't be able to do it myself. So there was really no way out of this. I was fucked no matter what I did, apparently. Okay. Whoa. Shout out to C. Dick. C. Dick tipped me $100 and says, it's been a while since I got the chance to see a stream. I had a rough day. DSP streams make things better. Thanks. Wow. Thank you very much, C. Dick, for $100 tip. I appreciate that, man. I really do. I don't know if you saw the podcast yesterday, but at this point, like, this kind of support is very, 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 very much appreciated because of the situation I'm in. So thank you, C. Dick. I appreciate it. Thank you. And again, thank you to everyone else who, has contributed. Keep in mind, again, if you cheer, sub, or tip, you'll get a shout out during the stream. All right, sound good? Yesterday and today, I'm not, no lie, I think I made about $1,500 to help towards those taxes. You know, however many thousand they end up being, which he told me minimum it would be like around 4,000 or 5,000. But then with the fees and all that other stuff on top of it is what's going to kill me. So let's see. But thank you, everyone, for your support. I appreciate it. Tonight, remember, tonight, more Mario. In fact, it's the Mario, much like Assassin's Creed Origins today, it's the Mario Endgame, where I'm going to be doing the dark side and darker side of the moon. Shout out to Critical for Day.
Okay, so we're moving into the next, keeping the broadcast going. But $1,500 that no one can account for because it wasn't paid towards taxes. He admitted that. So, all right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part of the broadcast. Yet again, with Mr. Huffstuff, Dspgaming, saving for taxes and baity cheers, but I've only taken a segment out, to be honest, because I want to try to stick to the point as best I can.
Hey, who did a 25-bit cheer? And he says, hey, Phil, even if you're nervous about Patreon and subs, don't worry. You've been in much worse times. You'll get through the bullshit. We are with you no matter what. I know, Critical. Honestly, there's nothing that I can do. I'm going to be nervous no matter what. The major thing here, I think, is to stay positive and to keep bringing positive gameplay and streams to you guys daily. And I think that just letting you guys know that I do need your support with certain situations and certain things, just like I did at the end of the year last year. I think if I just make you aware of it, I think we're going to be okay. You know, I am nervous because I have no idea how much I'm going to owe in April. I also have no idea what the back taxes are going to be for the state, which those aren't due until supposedly that assessment of my back taxes that I'm going to owe for not paying business taxes since I moved here in 2014 all the way through 2016. Apparently, those are going to be due or start being due April as well. So it's like everything's going to be due in April. Great, right? Everything at once. That sucks. But, you know, not having any idea what these amounts are going to be is very worrying. I mean, what if it's a couple thousand? Okay, I could probably wrangle that up. You know, I've been saving up money. That probably wouldn't be a big deal. What if it's like 10,000? Well, fuck me. Where am I supposed to get a crazy amount of money from, you know? So that's why I'm nervous. It's the uncertainty that really makes me nervous.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to mention something. This right here is from February 24th of 2018, and he said right there that he's been saving up. So it wasn't like, you know, he didn't have the money, as he has told us recently. He had the money saved up, or at least he had some of it. But where'd the money go? Where did the money go, ladies and gentlemen? And I'd like to throw this out there as an interesting side note. Kat showed up in February. I think she showed up Valentine's Day, or if not the day before Valentine's Day. So, just throwing that out there.
But we don't know anything yet. I'll find out, hopefully soon, and have more information. But like I said, right now is the time for me to try to be raising funds, because if I don't do it now, you know, it would be great in March. I finally know what I owe. That's great, but anything that you do besides tipping doesn't even count until May, so it doesn't even help me, right? So that's why I got to try to do some stuff here at the end of the month to help out, okay? All right. All right. I got another idiot troll. Goodbye. I'm really tired of this. But last month, didn't you say you had enough to cover your state taxes? No. Last month, I said I had enough to cover the 2017 state taxes, and that there was still back taxes that we're going to be due in the future, but you like to come in here continuously, by the way, on your third clone account, after being banned twice already, and constantly spam the stream chat with shit like that to act like I'm a liar, which I'm not. You're just a moron. So there you go. YOLO Dopper did a cheer and said, if you can't for some reason...
Now, I don't stream, as you guys know, and I don't stream on Twitch, as you guys know, but... is there something on Mrhuth that allows you to see that? That you can, like, does somebody's IP kind of pop up and you can tell if they've been banned before? Is that like a tie-in or a function, or is that just something that a mod told them? Because how would you know that? Like, how would you be able to look at this person and tell that, oh, this is your third clone account? Unless that person's been in there for a couple of weeks and Swaggins or whoever else that was around did their investigation shit and realized, oh, this is the same guy, Phil. You might want to keep this in mind when next time he acts up. Just saying, it might not exactly be the safest place over there.
Pay taxes in April. Where will you and Cat go? Back to Connecticut? Well, here's the thing. If I can't pay them in April, which I hope by hook or by crook, there's got to be hopefully some way I can try to make up the money to pay these, okay? Well, you know, fundraising streams. If I have to fucking sell shit out of my house, I don't know how that would work, you know? But I got to figure out something. Worst case scenario, if it looks like there's no way I'm going to be able to pay the taxes that I owe for the rest of the year, for example, I'm going to have to put the house on the market, you know? And, which I don't want to do.
Yeah, Phil, because let's be perfectly honest with you, there's no such thing as halfway crook. Not at all. You're either committed or you're not at all. And to think that you can walk away from any type of situation unscathed is kind of ridiculous, to say the very least. But you know, I guess if you're lathered up in enough bacon grease, you can do what you got to do.
Again, I've worked my ass off to earn this house, to keep this house. My girlfriend's now moved in. We're getting used to it. You know, it's good. We're having a life we're building here together. You know, pretty soon she'll be, you know, getting back to work. We got a few more hoops to jump through there before that can happen. But you know, we're at a point where we're loving what's going on, and obviously I don't want this to happen, but worst case, having to put the house on the market, now you're talking months to prepare the house for sale, to have people coming in and looking at it, you know. It's not going to be a quick process. It's not like overnight, oh God, that's it, no more fill in Washington. More than likely, what I would have to do is see houses around here, homes around here, and it's not going to be me buying this time because I don't have the credit to buy. It's probably going to be me trying to rent something, if I even can with the credit that I have, rent something out here. If worst case scenario, yeah, if I can't even qualify to rent something out here because my credit's so bad, then I'm going to have to go back to Connecticut and move into the shitty condo, which I don't want to do. It would be terrible, okay? It would. It would honestly be awful. Two people living in the small, cramped condo. My business would suffer tremendously. The quality of videos would go way down. The internet would constantly have issues. It would be really bad, okay? I don't even want to think about it.
Now, keep in mind, he hasn't been back home in like 4 or 5 years. So to assume that you just leave somewhere and it just stays the same and nothing really changes is kind of, yet again, it's kind of out there. But that's just, you know, that's DSP logic. So that's one thing. Secondly, Panda came and saw you. Well, he did fly Cat in a bunch of times. But Panda used to come and see you, what, once a month? And it is what it is. And if Cat is working all the time, how does that bother you? You're going to spend the majority of your time in your living room anyway. And you can't write that off on your taxes, as we saw from an earlier segment. So what's the big deal exactly? At least it'd be cleaner. Yeah, you guys have to share a single bathroom, but so no bacon grease down the toilet. I mean, I don't know, man. You got to make adjustments in a relationship. It's 50-50, give or take, Phil.
It's like worst case scenario. What I'm hoping is, maintaining the positivity, keeping a good attitude. You guys have been very supportive and saved my butt before, between all the money I've already raised and saved and everything going on. Hopefully we can get through it and we don't have to worry about it. One final thing for people who basically are too nosy for their own good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with, let's see, yet again, Mr. Huffstuffs, Dspgaming, prepping for June's taxes. This is from February 25th of 2018, so literally the next day from the previous segment.
But I've been seeing this question circulate, which is none of anyone's business, but let's go ahead and answer it anyway. But Phil, you already said you raised more money in December than you needed for your taxes, for the state taxes. What happened to that money? It's going to go towards the taxes in April, as I just said.
But how's that nobody's business when when the person or the people who are asking are probably some of the very same people who actually contributed to this? What makes you think that they can just give you the money and then they don't have any, at least if not any say so, but at least any wherewithal of where their money's going? It's only fair. People give you money, they generally want to have an idea of where it's going. I mean, if people just donate to you just to donate to you is one thing, but you are trying to raise funds actively to pay these taxes. And now there's some questions coming up on where this tax money is going. So they ask some questions. Just go ahead and be transparent, give them the answer, and keep it moving. You're going to lie anyway, so who cares? Just give them a lie that you can stick with and keep it moving.
But Phil, what if you raise way more money on this fundraiser than you need for your taxes in April? Where will that money go? It'll go to the next taxes, which, by the way, are due in June. The way it works when you're self-employed, folks, it's not how it works when you have a 9-to-5 office job or a job where you get a paycheck every week. It's not like that. The way it works is, unlike getting a paycheck every week and having the taxes just taken out automatically, what happens is you're supposed to guesstimate how much money you're going to make in a quarter, and then up front, before that quarter happens, you're supposed to pay whatever you think you're owed for that quarter coming up. So, for example, what I'm paying in April, all right, is going to be the guesstimate for how much I make from April to, like, June. I'm supposed to assume how much I'm making and pay that much. Then in June, I'm supposed to pay, like, another quarter's amount of taxes. How much money am I going to make between June and September? Guess and pay a certain amount of taxes based on that. See what I mean? So if I make more money right now with this fundraiser on Wednesday, between the money that I still have from December and the new money I raise on Wednesday, if it's more than what I owe in January, or excuse me, in April for taxes, then that's going to roll over to my next tax payment, which will be due in June, etc., etc. Okay? Just being real with you guys. The way I used to do it, which is really terrible, I used to put it all on a credit card. But sadly, I just can't do that anymore. I'm not even in a situation where I can afford to put it on a credit card anymore. I don't have enough credit to put thousands of dollars of taxes on a credit card. That's how extent.
First off, why were you putting it on your credit card in the first place? That was already stupid. Why aren't you putting money to the side to pay these quarterly taxes that you know that are coming up? Wings can do it. Why can't you? Secondly, which is even more silly. So, yet again, Phil, where's all this tax money at when you said that it rolls over from quarter to quarter, but you've said that you haven't paid any taxes at all that year? So, where'd all that... So, yet again, Phil, where the hell is the money? Where the hell is the money? Because, to be honest with you, Phil, as this has gone on and on, I'm starting to get to the point that, well, why would you need the rollover money if there's no taxes that need to be paid? To be honest with you. I feel like there's a lot of people that already think that. I'm just saying, Phil. It just doesn't sound very good. It really doesn't. I can understand why people are at the notion that there is no tax problem. At all. Because you're not accounting for where the money's going. And your time frames are all screwed up. And more importantly than that, you can't really tell anybody where the money's at. Because a lot of people over in Phil's fan base are really clueless at what he said about when he didn't pay any taxes last year. They're kind of like, they heard it, or they heard it, but they weren't listening to it. And then they just kind of moved on. But for everybody else, there's common sense. what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? So you ain't sat there and squandered all this money on whatever the case may be. You suckered all these people, because they are suckers, out of all they bread, and yet you're still pushing the narrative. And yet the money that Phil was getting at the end of 2017, begging, compared to what he ended up getting all through 2018, has declined massively. It was a massive decline. And it just kept getting worse and worse for him each and every month. So it makes me wonder that this supposed tax money, right, actually went to try to supplement, or if not prop up, his declining income. Because the money obviously went somewhere, and it obviously didn't go to taxes. Or let me rephrase that. It obviously didn't go to back taxes. I don't know. Not sure, Scooby.
Extended I am on my credit and stuff. So that's why I have to do these special events to try to pay the taxes, you know. I've been saving up as much as I can, but I got to do this to try to stay here in this house, you know. Just as big of a threat as it was in December that I may have to lose my house and, you know, move out of here, it's the same threat. If I can't pay these taxes in April, and then in June, and then in September, and then in December, which is when they're due, then I have to basically sell my house in order to pay them. There's nothing else I could do, all right? The good news is, you guys have been tremendously supportive. Everything's up. The problem is this big fucking road bump I'm in right now. Those state taxes really screwed me over at the end of the year, and if those didn't exist, I would have had thousands of dollars extra to put towards these taxes that I don't have, and now it's just like keep rolling over. It's a pain in the ass. So that's why. But anyway, if I make extra money that's exorbitantly above what the taxes are, it rolls to the next tax payment. All right, just so everyone knows. People seriously, there's conspiracy theorists out there who think I have some kind of an offshore fucking bank account, right? Where I roll all my money into an offshore bank account, and one day I'm just gonna vanish from the internet and never play games again, and say, oh, you know, I fooled you guys. I embezzled $4 zillion while I was fucking doing this.
Now, that's something actually I want to talk about a little bit. I don't know exactly what theories he heard. I know that there was at least some speculation being thrown around. I wouldn't actually say they flushed it out far enough to call it a theory. But he went from this, right? From he has some money embezzled, on some offshore account. And he is on Kiwi Farm, so maybe he heard something and then just ran with it and twisted it to make it his own. Like I said, this is February 25th of 2018. To now, okay, in 2019, he's sitting there saying, oh, I got money in the Cayman Islands, and people think we're getting ready to go there on vacation so we can collect, and this, that, and the third. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and put this out here just to square everything up. Phil isn't quitting YouTube or Twitch unless he wins the lotto. There wasn't enough time, and there certainly wasn't enough people to give him the amounts of money needed for him to step away from the internet and be able to live comfortably for the next 10, 15 years, even with Cat working. There isn't enough money. He didn't get enough money for that. Phil is accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle, a lifestyle that he's constantly hiding from us, right? If you want to call it that, that he's constantly hiding. Hence the reason why he doesn't want to film anything in his house except for his room. With that being said, or in a very controlled environment that has nothing there, almost Spartic to some extent. So what he does with his money isn't even, there's no notion of it unless he wants to tell you what he's doing with it. And more importantly than that, because of the gout, oh, it's so funny to say that. He can't necessarily eat the way he wants. So he occupies his space with other shit, meaning buying shit for him and Kat, which is hence the reason why we don't ever get to see the house at all. Trust me, Phil, he's a whore. He's a whore. And he's going to want to, and when he goes out, he buys what he wants, even if he doesn't need it. Half the time he probably doesn't really want it. He just has a compulsion to do it. You can't sit there and live in the long term off a set amount of money like that. If that was the case, he wouldn't have any financial problems now. With the 3 or 4 years, let's say 3 years, where he had that large run on YouTube and made all that crazy cash, he should have been cool off that, and everything else was just supplemental income just to get him year by year. He couldn't do that. And we all know that the pay pigs aren't paying crazy money. And even before he was exposed on Twitter for talking to people behind the scenes and trying to work out bullshit, this, that, and the third, there wasn't people sending him $5,000 or $6,000 behind the scenes to make that happen. I doubt it. Is it possible? Sure. It's very, very possible. And it could have happened even a couple of times. I'm just throwing that out there for the sake of argument. But I doubt it. And if he did, then yet again, it's just massive greed. But that doesn't mean that there's enough money behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, that he's going to step away from the internet. He's just not. He has too much of an ego to step away from it. That's why he's over there on Kiwi Farms. He has to know what people say about him day after day after day, which is unhealthy as fuck. People want to talk about, oh, you guys making videos on it, man. When'd you guys get lives? How about he get a life and step away from the negativity that he supposedly doesn't pay attention to? It's different if it's bad enough that I personally think he's watching Tevin's streams as they go on the sneak. It's already pretty crazy that he's kind of, well, silly, not crazy. It's kind of silly that he's already doing that. It's bad enough that he's on Kiwi Farms seeing what people are saying to him and he's watching the tractor videos. He's already taken it too far. This has become part of his life and he can't disconnect from it. That whole thing about going out and spending all day with Cat, I doubt that's what happens. I think they sleep in because Phil goes to sleep late the night before and he's really just seeing what's going on. And then on his day off, he's probably on his phone a good amount of time monitoring Twitter and monitoring Kiwi Farms to see what's being said. That's my general thoughts though. Dspnews.
Spoiler alert. People that believe those kind of conspiracies are morons. It's not like you've been seeing me rolling in dough. You see me with new clothes on every day. You've been seeing me wear the same shit forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's so ludicrous. But whatever. I can't even afford a new TV because my TV has massive input lag. My PS4 is on its last legs with audio issues and everything. I don't have money for that. And you're going to tell me, like, I'm
But yet again, you've had the opportunity to replace all those things. The PS4, the television, the laptop, the brick. Well, it's not a brick. But the Lemon PC, you had money to replace all those things and you chose not to do it. What you wanted was other people to do it for you. That's what you wanted. You wanted other people to do it and you couldn't figure out how to do it. When it didn't work on Patreon, when it didn't work over there, you had to figure out another scheme to make it happen. And now, with that being said, it kind of makes me wonder if you actually was given that PS4, or not PS4 Pro, sorry. Well, I'm skeptical about that too. But were you actually given that Nintendo Switch? Did someone really send it to you? Or did you take it back to Best Buy? They said they didn't have one in stock, but they can send you a replacement, and that's what happened. Because he did say he had to wait until it came in through UPS or FedEx, whoever it was that delivered to him. So that's what I'm thinking the situation is now. But I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know for sure. I'm not giving it that much thought. Because there's nothing that he says that you can take at face value. It's almost natural to scrutinize it until you can figure out otherwise. Let's continue.
Exorbitantly, rolling money into an offshore bank account. People are nuts, all right? But I digress, folks. Wednesday should be a fun day for everyone. Even if you can't contribute, please still show up to the stream. Have some fun with me. Have some interaction. But if you can show up and support, it's greatly appreciated. Help me get through this hurdle in April, right? So that we can keep this house. I mean, now Cat's here. We're having a life together. Things are amazing. We want to stay here. We don't want to lose out and have to sell the house, which would be insanely bad. Please, if you can, show up.
Keep in mind, at this point, she was only there for like a week or two. Just saying. If that. I think she might have only been there for maybe 10 days. Maybe 10 days.
Support. Sound good? All right. Fake lyrics. Critical for Days cheered again and said, Phil, I want to ask this. How can you sleep when problems like taxes, slander, etc. are happening to you every day?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with... I think this is the last Mrhuth stuff video, to be honest with you, before we get into Phil's personal video. I'm actually going to have to go through Gout for you guys. I'm not saying you have to be appreciative of it. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Mrhuth stuff. Dspgaming. Day off adventure and how to deal with slander and taxes. I've cut most of it, though, just to stick to the taxes part. For the most part. Or whatever ties into it.
And you're worried that one day everything may be lost. Hope that doesn't happen. Keep the positivity up. Well, here's the thing, Critical for Days. This is the truth. Sometimes it gets to me. It does. I'll be real with you. Sometimes it really does get to me. All right? In regards to the fact that for 10 years of my life, guys, I'm only 35 years old. So roughly a third of my life has been given to doing what I do. Playing games on the internet, sharing those experiences, having fun with you guys, putting up with, the foibles of uploading to YouTube on a daily basis and streaming on Twitch, putting up with that public presence and all the negativity that comes with it, but also, all the positivity as well. And, he's absolutely right here. The things that I do could literally go away overnight. Tomorrow, YouTube and Twitch could close down. They could kick me off. They could do whatever they want. And I would be forced to now find some kind of crazy way to make a living in a climate here where I haven't worked an office job in 8 years. And I'm out of, practice of anything that I was doing. I'd probably be starting from the bottom. It would not be a good situation at all, folks. It wouldn't. So that being said, it's daunting. Some nights, I'll be real with you guys. Some nights I go to sleep and I'm nervous. Some nights it gets to me and I say stupid shit and I do stupid things because I'm nervous about the future, and then I hear people getting all hype about things that I think are kind of silly and or I'm not interested in. And then I get bombarded on social media. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? I don't give a shit. I got my own thing going on. And, I'm just kind of hyper-focused on myself and being able to survive and pay my bills and pay my taxes and having a good life here with my girlfriend who just moved in with me. This is the focus for me. I don't have time for all this, this nonsense sensory noise around me. And that's really what it is. There's a whole lot of white noise on the internet these days, right? All these flash in the pan stuff that happens. This is important. That's important. Did you hear this news? Did you hear this special thing that happened? Did you hear this amazing thing over here? Or on the flip side, did you hear this negative thing? Did you hear this happen to this person? Did you hear this guy say this? Did you hear this and this? It's all white noise to me, and it's a cacophony of white noise currently, always constantly spinning around my head. And for me, I basically need to kind of focus in on what's important and not let all that shit constantly get to me. You know what I mean? And sometimes it does. I'm only human. And I apologize to anyone who I may come off as sometimes angry or grumpy or, you know what I mean? Like not in a good mood. Because sometimes, I'll be real. I just am. There's other stuff going on behind the scenes that, that I tell you guys about sometimes, but I don't always mention it. And, maybe the last thing that I like to hear is, these crazy weird things that just happen, these anomalies. And it's like, well, here I am. I'm the guy who busted his ass for 10 years to do what he loved. I really fought to keep doing things the way that I do them. In particular, because I feel that is the right way to do them. To be a true gamer, right? To share my honest, raw gameplay experiences with you guys. Never giving in to the YouTube temptations of everything must be highly edited. You must sit in front of a video editor for 10 hours a day to go through an entire playthrough and only do this and use the highly edited thumbnails and do skits and, work with...
Now, it's obvious that he has an active disdain for all of that, but look at where he's at compared to others. And even the people who have moved on to greater things, he can sit there and try to hang his bacon on the fact that, oh, I'm still here while they're gone. But look at how far you've fallen compared to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not even really catching steady looks outside of your general fan base or the people who stumble upon it. And I would assume that your audience retention is terrible, given the fact that any new people who come in and see it, they're like, this is dead air. I'm not getting anything. He's failing a bunch of times. And then in the recommended videos, oh, this is how you don't play. Oh, I'm just going to run on that. I'll just go to that then and see what that's about. So you're losing on all fronts because you weren't willing to take the steps needed to become better and move along with the active trend that was going on YouTube. It wasn't a temptation. It was the way things go. You know what I mean? You weren't thriving on YouTube. You were barely surviving. Hence the reason why you went to Twitch. So your whole argument here is incidental either which way. Just my opinion though. Dspnews.
A team of people who can film and do this and I just wanted to be a normal gamer who sat around and played games and had fun with you guys. And it's been a very hard, very difficult time to maintain what I do and still be able to afford everything over the years. To be real with you guys. And sometimes it gets to me. It does. Especially this tax situation right now is really just, it's got its hooks in me. Let's put it that way. And so, you get a night when some crazy stuff happens and, did you hear about this? I don't care. I just really, I can't get so into other people's shit and get into these big viral things and get into these memes and get into this crazy shit, you know. You're right, Critical for Days, but, you know, the good news is, somehow, at least up to now, I found a way every day. I reinvigorate myself, I jump back on, I'm positive, I get on stream, I have fun with you guys. That's what it's all about. It's not about having moments of weakness, it's about persevering through those moments of weakness and coming back stronger the next day because you learn from them, right? That's really what I think it's all about. It's one thing to have a weakness or to make a mistake or to be angry or whatever. As long as something positive comes out of it, then, you know what I mean? If you're destined to repeat the same mistakes over and over, that's not good. But if you take those mistakes and learn from them to become motivation for the future, that's a great thing, right? So there you go. What is going on, everyone who watches DS?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the main event. Oh, boy. Okay, we're here for the main event. Dspgaming. Special announcement, super important marathon on Saturday. Or super important marathon this Saturday, I should say. At least that's how it's written here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very pathetic sort of situation, and it should be fun to laugh at. Now, at the time that I'm actually recording this, I'm on Twitter, so here's the thing. Initially, I was going to just call him a slob, because why would you make a begging video looking like a bum? But that kind of counterintuitive, because obviously if you want to look broke, this is probably the way to do it. If you want to look like an absolute moron who couldn't conduct your life properly, right? And you need children to save your fucking ass, this might be the way to go about it. This might be the look that you need to have. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is what real gamers who really are passionate about what they do hate. They hate individuals who carry themselves looking like this because it makes everybody look bad. It makes everybody look bad. And it's not just the look, though, too. It's the mentality behind it is what makes this really dangerous, so to speak. But whatever. Okay, so he published this today, actually, on 3/18. Problem is if you guys saw Tevin's stream when I think it was like they were doing Street Fighter Turbo, or he was doing Super Turbo that night, right? He didn't have any of this. All this facial hair and shit, all this extra piggy hair, none of that was there, right? So apparently, people have pointed out that this was pre-recorded, okay? Because as you guys may or may not have noticed, when Phil is about to go on his days off, he always shaves, because obviously, if you're gonna go out and he's going out with Kat, he wants to try to look at his best if he ever gets there. So he pre-recorded this, right, under the notion that it actually happened, that he's actually saying this the day of. Like, you know what I'm saying? The way he words it, it's like, oh yeah, guys, I'm off today, so I'm giving you guys this video because I don't have any videos going out today. But in actuality, this is an old video. And more importantly than that, the theory is going around that Kat isn't home, which is another thing I'd like to point out. It's funny how this whole back tax situation, I really need your guys' support, I really need your help, this, that, and the third, all this stuff happens when Kat ain't around. And when I mean not around, like not in the house. So it's almost like, for example, Phil's begging is a drug addiction that he's trying to hide from Kat. And it's kind of funny how it starts to kind of make sense on why he didn't want her on Twitter, he didn't want her on stream, didn't want her on YouTube, even though she says she's seen some of the stuff that's said about her and so on and so forth, but that's only what Phil allows her to see, allegedly, or whatever she wanted to see at that time. It's funny how he does all this nonsense basically behind her back, which is crazy to me, because now I'm kind of interested in knowing if Kat knew this is what you were doing, Phil, that this is really how your life is like. I wonder what she would actually think about this. And you can tell he's constantly doing all this silly shit behind her back. It makes me wonder how many days she's actually home. Or does she even consider your house home, Phil? Does she just come over occasionally? Does she stay a couple of days over at wherever and then a couple of days with you? I don't know. It doesn't seem right. In that, and you're recording late into the night at times and stuff, and all this, that, and the third. And then you changed your narrative recently saying that, oh, I used to have to wait until Kat gets home and then I cook and then we eat together. Now you're eating on your own. You're making frozen lasagna and so on and so forth. And now the narrative is, oh, Cat comes home, we kind of hang out for an hour, and then we go to bed. Okay. Well, like I said, that's probably just drawing at straws. Let's continue.
Gaming on YouTube. I'm Darkside Phil, obviously, and I'm the person who creates all the content for this channel. You probably know who I am if you're an avid viewer of the content here. The reason I'm making this video and putting it out today is because today is a day off from me when I'm not going to be putting up any other videos on this channel. As you know, pretty much every single day I put new stuff up on this channel with the exception of the one day that I have off from live streaming. And the days that I am live streaming, I always record and upload all those archives right here to Dspgaming once I'm done. The reason that I'm doing it today on my day off is because I want this video to get a lot of attention on Dspgaming since there's no other videos today. And the bottom line is that this coming Saturday, March 23rd, 2019, I'm doing my first ever true gaming marathon, meaning I'm going to be streaming from roughly 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific time on Twitch, and I'm going to be doing a wide variety of games, including more Sekiro, because it's coming out this Friday, and I know people are going to want to see more of that. Retro games such as Donkey Kong Country series, as well as some Super Mario RPG. Chill and modernized games that you guys like to see me play, including Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout, probably some Modern Warfare Remastered because I've been doing so well at that recently, and some throwback classic Street Fighter, since you guys love watching me play that because those are the games I grew up playing and I'm actually pretty good at them. And I'm probably even going to do a segment on the stream where I just kind of talk to you guys, maybe open Q&A or just discussions of how things are going, okay? All that being said,
he's basically going to sandbag this whole marathon. Basically. I mean, outside of Sekiro, this whole thing sounds useless. It sounds worthless. It sounds like just a regular day of just random shit. Because if he plays Blackout, we all know all he's going to do is camp and look at and basically try to interact with the chat. Modern Warfare is going to be the same shit as he gets bodied at that left and right. And then Street Fighter, if he can even get into a match. So the only thing is Sekiro, and I'm surprised he even has that in the marathon because you would think he would try to cash grab that for as much as he could. And then the talking segment, we all knew that's what that was going to be like. That's probably going to be 2 or 3 hours all in its own. I don't know. I don't know. All right, another thing that I keep seeing being brought up on Twitter is that the desperation, right? People have been saying this for a little while now, that it's funny how as soon as he ended up getting this big check from the Emerald 7 thing, he's been pretty much taking it easy in March. He's been real chill and laid back about what he's asking for and so on and so forth. The begging isn't there. It's not up to scrutiny. It's not up to par. It's not consistent. Okay, fair enough. But I think one of the reasons for that, in my own personal opinion, is one, it only gives more scrutiny that this is probably all a lie, but all of us pretty much think that. But not just that. Also the fact that he was banking on the marathon, which is coming up on Saturday, and that whole retrospective stream, which that was a joke in itself. The retrospective stream was garbage. The marathon is only going to be good. The talking segment's probably going to be the best part. That's pretty much where you're going to probably get anything that's worthwhile. That and maybe the Blackout segment. Outside of that, the rest of it's you can pretty much trash the rest of it. The rest of it's garbage, hot garbage. And it's very obvious that he's in a much better situation than he's letting on, given where's the desperation at in all this. Like, this video is what, 8-9 minutes long? I mean, this isn't compelling enough at all. You going ahead and recording it while you're in bum status and your bum persona is one thing, but I'm not hearing enough to make me think this is worthwhile. But let's continue.
Why am I making this video for you? Why aren't I just putting out the videos here on Dspgaming? Well, the reason I'm doing this marathon is because my federal taxes are going to be due on April 15th. I have been speaking with my tax guy, and he's stating that by the end of this week, he's going to tell me exactly how much I owe the federal government. And the bottom line
that's
is,
the feds. What happened to what's the situation with the business tax, and what's the deal with the back taxes on that? Oh, is that not even a point of conversation anymore? Oh, okay.
The more I can pay out of that, the better the situation will be. okay? Basically, the way he's explained it is the more of what I owe I can pay up front is good, because if I pay that off, then that's less that the government can say, oh, you didn't pay it on time, and now there's fees and interest and everything that gets slammed on top of that.
But why would that need to be explained to you? How did you not know that? You pay the money that you owe, and you pay, if you can't pay all of it, pay as much as you can so you can avoid certain situations. Kind of like your credit cards, and you know all about that, Phil. You live off your credit cards. Why did someone have to explain this to you? It's not like this is year one of you doing taxes or something. This is just something that you should readily understand. And it doesn't just apply to your taxes. It applies to anything that requires basically monthly payments or bi-monthly payments to pay back. Okay.
So, you know, in all honesty, this Saturday is make or break for me. This Saturday's marathon, how it goes, is make or break for me, because depending on how much I can raise during this special event is going to determine how much of my taxes I can actually pay and basically get me as far out of a bad situation as possible. It's very possible that if I can't pay off all the taxes, that there's going to be massive amounts of fees and interest that are going to make it basically almost impossible for me to pay, to the point where this year it's going to be such a burden on me financially that I may actually have to sell my house and leave this awesome place where for the past 5 years I've been making videos and streams and doing what I love. You know.
Yeah, but you've been talking about this for the last 3 years, so just saying.
And my girlfriend, who's lived with me for over a year now, love this home. We've built a life here in the last year. I worked my ass off to earn this house.
Wait a second. How did that happen when the infrastructure was already set up for her when she got there? I mean, how did she build something that was already built? Like, how does that work? She walked into a ready situation. Another woman put everything that she had together for her. All she had to do was toss some of the trash out. Other than that, she didn't build anything. She might have tidied it up a little bit, but she didn't build anything. How does that work? Oh, I'm sorry, Panda. I'm sorry. It's a shame that your time in history is slowly being wiped away. Slander, sir. Slander.
Years and years of hard work, and have busted my ass for the past 5 years to be able to afford to stay here, and now it's basically rocking a hard place. So the reason that I'm doing this is because my Twitch stream viewers already are well aware this event.
Now, here's the thing. I've been saying this for a while now, and it's kind of funny to see it come to fruition. I always said, at the beginning of this whole tax arc, saga, it's really a saga, not an arc. I said that he's slowly but surely trying to divide the fan base to North Galtopia and South Galtopia. North Galtopia is Twitch, South Galtopia is YouTube. He slowly divided, he was trying to divide them up, and so on and so forth. And for good reason. One, he's pissed off at the YouTube side of it, or South Galtopia, because one, they didn't move over to Twitch even in his most desperate moments. And because of that, he's not able to bleed them dry. Because it's very obvious that not everybody who watches him on YouTube is contributing to Patreon. And that's really their only... I mean, I would say it's probably one of their few outlets that give him money. Between that and, obviously, the Mrhuth link that you see there. Mrhuth, sorry. But Patreon, is, to be honest with you, would be the tradition where they would go from. And in Phil's head... Oh, well, before I actually started streaming, you guys used to give me money on Patreon all the time. So why is it that you guys still aren't doing it? Oh, well, Phil, half those people end up going to Twitch. Oh, well, what about the other half, though, dude? I'm not hitting the Patreon goals every month. I'm not getting my $12.50. So the amount of resentment that he has been building up for a long time. Hence the reason why he's done, what, 3 or 4 videos for YouTube? What was it? First, hey guys, I really need you guys to step up and I need your support. Hey guys, you guys are taking me for granted. Now I think there was one more video before this, or this is the 3rd video. Now I really need you guys to come out and support this. It's basically him shitting on YouTube and being like, hey, Twitch, I'm bleeding these guys over here on Twitch dry. You know what I'm saying? Dry. And you guys need to step the fuck up. And if you guys don't want to come over there and watch my streams and you want to be comfortable over here on YouTube, taking me for granted and taking my content for granted, then you can at least use Patreon or use my my link here to give me money. You not being able to come over to Twitch is not an excuse. You clicking those ads don't work anymore. That was video number 4. Video number 3. Video number 3 was when he said that watching YouTube videos weren't enough. So this would be, theoretically, this would be video 4. There might be a 5th one, but you guys get my point. So that's where we're at with this narrative. And the thing is videos like this are, one, it's pathetic on his part, but 2, it's degrading for anybody who's in the YouTube fan base that still gives a shit. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason why they don't want to go to Twitch is whatever reason. But at the end of the day, YouTube's supposed to be an archive. They should be able to go over there and enjoy that no matter what. They shouldn't feel obligated to contribute to you under the threat, an empty threat at best, that you're going to go away. Who cares? You yourself said, oh, if you don't like any of the new content, don't watch it. Watch old Phil. If you don't like new Phil, watch old Phil. So if you go away, it don't mean that the YouTube channel dies. It just means there's no new content. But you're the one who has a 10-year legacy, almost 11 years on YouTube. There's plenty to watch. Just saying. I don't know, Scooby. I don't see a whole lot of incentive to have to support. And I think a lot more people on YouTube are starting to notice that. That's a good thing, too, by the way. Dspnews?
Happen, and they're aware of how important it is. And I'm very sure that people are going to come out and be supportive. But you guys, the YouTube viewers, for the most part, you don't know about this stuff that happens behind the scenes unless I talk about it randomly in a gameplay video, which doesn't always happen. So there's very many of you out of the thousands and thousands of people who watch my content here on a daily basis. Many of you may not be aware of the situation I'm in and the fact that if I don't raise a lot of funds this coming Saturday, I may have to sell my house and leave here and go to a small apartment with worse internet, which means less streaming or worse streaming, no nice office with soundproofing foam and everything behind me. You can't do this kind of stuff when you rent, because if you destroy the wall when you rent, now you're responsible for it and fixing it and everything. So I don't want to have to leave, you know. I don't. I love this place.
Now, he obviously doesn't know what he's talking about at all with that. First things first, okay? For any of you guys who live in apartments, you guys already know what I'm talking about. You're not putting sledgehammer fucking size holes in your wall. You know what I'm saying? There are plenty of people who live in apartments who have TVs mounted on their wall. You let maintenance know in advance what the situation is and whatnot. You let the front office or whatever the case may be, let them know what the situation is. Most of them are cool with it. Because when it's time to, when you move out and it's time for them to basically renovate, but you know what I mean? They bring the apartment back up to its former luster, if you will. They're going to handle all those things anyway. As long as you're not putting fist-sized holes into your goddamn walls, it's fine. What? People who live in apartments can't put up pictures, can't put up other things and whatnot to make it feel like a home? What sense does that make, Phil? Oh, that's right. You were living in that house for like 3 or 4, well, yeah, 3 years, I guess, maybe 4 years, before you decided to put anything up because Panda wouldn't let you. And then all of a sudden you got this weak-ass fucking art gallery upstairs because Panda's gone and now you got some freedom. I got you. That's how we look at the world. He's a fucking idiot. And the same thing with being able to stream and do this, that, and the third. You can do all of that anywhere. It just means that his dumb ass can't throw his voice to the wall. You're gonna have to be a little bit more considerate to your environment. That's all. Other than it might actually make you a better streamer because you might actually think things out a little bit more. That house, yet again, he's treating it like a kid who's finally established some type of freedom, like with a tree house or something. That's how he treats that house. You're still an adult. You still have shit that you need to do, and you still have to conduct yourself in a certain type of way. And Phil don't want to do that. Hence the reason why he don't leave the house unless he has to. He's a prisoner to his own, not even ambition, to what's the word? He is a prisoner to his own view and standards of the world. As long as I'm in my house, I'm safe and no one can touch me. It's really his own paranoia that's taken over in such a way. As long as I'm inside my own home, I'm safe. And within my own home, I have my room or office, air quotes, which is my bubble, and that's impenetrable. So there's no way that anybody's going to be able to impede on what I do and on what I want to do. And that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous to live like this. You become a prisoner to yourself. And he can't see that. And then he want to bitch and complain about a house, which, to be honest with you, you don't deserve it. Just like how Tevin says, praise be almighty, Tevin says that you don't deserve good credit. Because you don't. You don't. Because you can't maintain it. You don't understand. You don't have enough responsibility. You don't have enough reason. You don't have enough common sense or logic. You don't deserve good credit. Just like you don't deserve that house. To be honest, as far as I'm concerned, you've only been renting. And it might be time to go. If not, eventually you will. You're not going to be able to hold it forever. Not without making some real serious sacrifices, or he pays off the condo in Connecticut first. And then there's an active theory going on that the condo is actually being rented. I talked about that on the Gentleman's Club. With Agent Proper and that guest of the week. I don't want to spoil that because I'm not sure if it's out yet. So, I mean, what a trash fire. Absolute trash fire.
I really worked my butt off to be here. So as you, the YouTube viewers, there's two things you can do to help. Number one, you could attend this Saturday's stream. Check out the actual stream at my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DarksidePhil. I'll be streaming 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on March 23rd. Come by, say hello, and contribute if you at all can, all right? It's going to be via tips, meaning the only real viable way for you to contribute and help me out in this situation is to tip me, because you tip me via sending funds to my PayPal, and that allows me to have those funds right away and put those funds toward my taxes. There are other ways you can help, like on Twitch, there's things such as cheering and subbing, but those aren't going to help. Those take too long to actually have any positive effect. It's only tipping that's going to help. Now, if you absolutely cannot make it to the stream on Saturday, all right, you can still leave a tip. You can still do it. If you watch my videos all the time here on YouTube and you appreciate the fact that despite the fact that YouTube makes me almost no money whatsoever to upload the videos here, I really do it as fan service for you guys who've been longtime viewers of mine and love watching my stuff. A lot of you even say you can't watch the live streams for whatever reason, but you can watch the on-demand videos on YouTube. Great. Please, if at all you can, please be supportive and leave a tip, over this coming week or on Saturday in particular. When you leave a tip, there's two ways you can do it. You could either leave your name in a message if you want me to see it during a stream and give you credit for it, or you can be anonymous. You can leave a completely anonymous tip. What if you just want to support, but you don't want to get involved with the whole, oh no, if I leave a tip, maybe someone will find out who I am or whatever. You could be completely anonymous. It's not, it's not a big deal at all. I have that option there. No one will know who you are because I won't know. It doesn't
and that's a lie too. Like I said, he can see who you are, even though, or at least we think so. He can see who you are, even if anonymous comes up on the screen. That's the first thing. Secondly, I like the paranoia that he's kind of trickled down to the fan base, if you will. That, hey, you don't have to worry about these trolls getting at you. You know what I'm saying? You can always do it anonymously. Like, it's almost what he wants, because it gives people, I guess you could say, it gives his haters and trolls less targets to go after. It makes more sense to him to tell everybody, just go ahead and get off the grid and go anonymous and whatnot, and then we'll work it out this way. Until you guys piss him off and then he outs you that way. Which is another thing that maybe if people who contribute to him maybe need to look at. Just saying. It's Phil. And we all know that he's petty and he's resentful. So outing somebody who's been anonymous for like 6 months giving him money because of or for whatever reason isn't out of the question. And the fact that he wouldn't use their information and give it to someone like Swaggins or whoever the cross-reference just to make sure they know who exactly is who, you telling me that's out of the question too? You're telling me that's not plausible? Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Dspnews.
Information either, okay? So, the Twitch viewers have been very supportive. They know what's going on. They've come out to be supportive, and I get the feeling they're going to come out yet again this Saturday to be supportive yet again and help me out. You, the YouTube viewers, people who only exclusively watch on YouTube, I really need your support. This is it. This is the most important stream coming up I've ever done because I need to raise these funds, and if I don't, I'm done. I'm probably going to have to sell my house and have a horrible year where there's going to be all kinds of less streaming because I have to move and figure stuff out. It's not going to be good, okay? It's going to be a very stressful, negative thing that, honestly, do I deserve it? No.
But that doesn't affect them, though. It only affects you. So you're not really selling your case to them. It doesn't. That right there shouldn't bother anybody. That's all on you. That's all on you, quite literally. Like, you're the one who put yourself in this situation. You're gonna have to dig yourself out. If they really want to watch your content, it's an archive channel. There's plenty for them to watch. It is what it is. If they want to see new games, they can actually go and watch someone else do it. That'll be far more entertaining and interactive, whether on YouTube or Twitch. Just saying. It really only hurts you, and you know that.
I worked my butt off, and it just sucks that so many things have happened in the past few years to screw me over and make me not able to afford my taxes at this point, that I need your help. Now, the good news is, even if I don't raise enough to pay off this entire giant sum of taxes that I apparently am going to owe, I don't know yet. My tax guy's going to tell me this week. No, the way he explained it to me is the more I pay off, the better. Even if I can't do the whole thing.
Is it a CPA or a tax attorney? Can we pick one and just stick with it? Or we're just going to go with tax guy from now on? Wow, it's a scary looking face, by the way.
The more I can pay off, the better. Because then that means less interest, less fees, less everything. So please, even if, man, I can only give Phil a couple bucks, that's great. That's fine. It adds up. No matter what I can pay off, it helps, okay? So please, consider tipping if at all you can.
So this is someone who owes between $20,000 and $25,000, allegedly. And you're okay with $2? Like, this is what we're literally pinching pennies at this point. That's what we're going for. That's what we're doing now. You could possibly lose your home, right? And lose everything you've worked for over the last 10 years, going on 11. You could possibly lose this relationship, this beautiful life you have with your soulmate. I'm sorry, she's been relegated to girlfriend now. Your girlfriend, Kat. You could lose all of that. But $2 is okay, though. Jesus Christ, man. Even Leafy offered 20. You could at least put a minimum on how much they can give you. All right. All right.
Right. Thank you for even considering it. Thank you for making me famous on the internet and allowing me to do what I love for a living. Thank you for your support over the years. I know things really aren't much of a YouTube focus anymore because of what's happened with YouTube ad revenue plummeting and me having to become a full-time streamer, but I still appreciate those of you who still watch my stuff here on YouTube on a daily basis, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you because I absolutely need your help at this point. This is the make or break point. If I don't raise a significant amount, I'm done. Okay? So thank you very much for all of your support up to now. Hopefully, you will realize the direness of the situation, and if you can, please help. Thank you very much, guys. And if you can't figure out this link, it's also in the description of this video.
Okay, wait a second. So I like this kind of bullshit sarcasm and talking down to. If you can't figure out this link, which I don't understand how that would be hard to type out. But all right, if you 12 and 13-year-olds can't figure out how to work this link here that's on screen, if you guys can't figure out how to basically see what's on screen and type it out, the link's in the description. Why is it that you talk to the YouTube crowd, Phil, like they're absolute fucking morons, like they're absolute idiots, like they're children? Not to say that children are absolute morons and idiots, but we all know how you feel about kids. Like when you stepped out of place with that 11-year-old and she backsmacked you, and then you said you wanted to backsmack her. You know how that works, right, Phil? So why is it that you treat the YouTube crowd like this consistently? They need to step up. You guys take me for granted. You need to just go ahead, even if you guys aren't going to show up, fine, but at least give me money. And then you expect it to happen. Now, don't be wrong. You've been getting over on your fan base for a very, very long time. Far longer than anybody should have been able to. But nothing lasts forever. At all. And you making sly-ass comments like that is just kind of ridiculous. It's not hard to copy this, to go ahead and type this out and make this work. And don't you have this on your Twitter? And don't you actually have this under your streams on Twitch? And isn't this in your, under most of your videos? So it's not like they didn't have a place to go to find this, if I remember correctly. I don't know, Phil. You might as well just go ahead and cut your losses on YouTube. I think any support on YouTube is gone. And another thing too, right? You're talking about Twitch, you're talking about YouTube. What about Patreon? Like, how's Patreon looking? Where's the money at with that situation? You still making $600 to $800 over there each month for no reason? Where's that money going? Because it's funny how you don't really bring up Patreon anymore. You say that people can donate to your Patreon, but you never talk about, oh, we didn't actually reach. Well, that's right. You don't have any real Patreon goals anymore. But hey, we didn't actually reach. I don't know, the full total on Patreon this month, guys. You guys can always still go over there. That $12.50 still helps. It goes to helping me with my bills. It goes to helping certain expenses, this, that, and the third. It can really help. You could use Patreon as, hey guys, this could really help me with my quarterly taxes. Granted, you'd have to go over there and rework it and put an absolute amount, and you won't do that because then people are going to call you out on it. But it's better than what you're doing now. Just saying, Phil, you have some outlets to use to your advantage, and yet you're still not doing it. Oh, well.
I gotta do is click on it to go to my PayPal tips page. Thanks a lot, and see you later.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's the end of that. That's kind of scumbagish. I guess I shouldn't expect too much out of that. Okay, so my overall thoughts before I play you guys out. It's this right here is just going after, it's 2018 or towards the end of 2018 all over again. He didn't call any detractors out because that's not a good idea. Smart on his part. But he was lazy with his approach. He's hoping that the visual, seeing him like a bum, will be enough to carry the day, right? This is what you guys need to help me with. This is the problem, and you see how it weighs on me. Here's the event that I'm going to give you guys, and this is how you guys can reach out to me to give me money. That's essentially what that whole video was, which is almost no different than what you see on stream most of the time. So to be honest with you, that whole video shouldn't even exist. It's useless. There was nothing really there at all worthwhile. It's basically shitting on the YouTube crowd, give me money, look at how bad I look, please show up to the streams and give me money. And if you can't show up, give me money through this link here. I'm surprised he didn't plug Patreon at all, which he probably should have. Because for the YouTube crowd, yet again, that's what they were used to doing anyway, is going to his Patreon and giving money there. So that's what he should have done. Anyway. That's all I have to say about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about this coming out so late. I just wanted to try to add some context to some of this. At least what I felt that was interesting anyway. And like I said, at the end of this whole tax saga thing, I'll put a special broadcast together where we talk about it from beginning to end and whatnot. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and so on and so forth, or whatever day you end up watching this. And I'm going to go ahead and do some, well, I was going to say I was going to go and do some fun stuff. But I think I'm just going to actually, yeah, I'm going to do some fun stuff. I'm going to go ahead and grab a drink and watch Devin's video. Like I said, I hope you guys are doing well, though. Take care of yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dspnews. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes. A GTG Network Productions. I am your host, /anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Take care of yourselves, guys. End the broadcast.
Cookin Soul.
A nigga never been as broke as me. I like that. When I was young, I had 2 pair of leads. Besides that, the pinstripes and the gray. The one I wore on Mondays and Wednesdays. While niggas flirt, I'm sewing tigers on my shirt and alligators. You want to see the inside? I see you later.
You don't care they're counting on your tips to live? You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin playing just for the waitresses.